East side of the bay. Beautiful, clear Wednesday night. A perfect night for baseball as we look across the bay into the Coliseum here in Oakland, California. There's still a buzz over the Warriors winning the NBA championship. Pat Murphy looking for his first win as manager of the San Diego Padres. Derek Norris back home. It was his baseball home. The Oakland A's now swinging the lumber for the San Diego Padres and doing a great job as we welcome you to the first of a two-game series here in Oakland, California. The Padres just 6 games behind the Dodgers as they begin play tonight against the Oakland A's. And good evening, everyone, along with Mark Grant, Dick Henberg. Pleased that you've joined us. Pat Murphy on the road now. Do you think a little less pressure now that he's away from Petco?
I think so, Dick, and I try to put into the situation of the player getting called up to the big leagues. Pat Murphy, very excited. Call the family. You get that first game under your belt. Didn't get a win, but you hope things turn around quickly. Now on the road, the press quite isn't all there. There's not a lot of hubbub going around, but Pat Murphy, like any player, after a game or two, he's going to feel just fine. The bottom line is he knows the game. He knows the players he's going to put out there. Hopefully they can play for him tonight and get a win. And
the player that he's placed on the mound tonight, Odrisamer Despaigne, not a lot of run support, but he's pitched very well of late.
He has. The last 4 times out for Odrisamer Despaigne, 26 and a third innings pitch. He's only walked 2. That's right, 2. And the numbers are proof. 2.05 ERA. Opponents only at 265. The whip, almost just a runner per inning, which is good. And Dick, one thing that really sticks out to me is the use of his fastball. He's been very aggressive with that fastball.
You've been talking about using that fastball all along, and indeed the proof is in the numbers. Opposing hitters batting only .202 against Despaigne's fastball, 9th best in the National League. Well, the story now is, can the Padres return the favor? The Oakland A's swept the 2 games at Petco Park, and Derek Norris and company hoping they can answer back tonight with a pair of victories and get this 8-game road trip off on the right foot. Opening pitch from Oakland coming up. San Diego presents Padres Baseball, brought to you by your San Diego Lexus dealer. By Petco, what we feed them matters. By Jerome's, where Jerry's price is the lowest price every day. No phony sales, just pure value. And by Mercury Insurance. Log on to mercuryinsurance.com today and see how much you could save. Padres and the A's first of 2. Let's go down to the field site and Chris Button. Chris.
Thanks, Dick. Well, some injury news to report today. Pat Murphy announced that Will Myers is going to have surgery on his left wrist tomorrow to remove a bone spur. He's had the spur for a little bit, but they were hoping to wait till after the season, but some soreness crept up again. He went and had an MRI and a second opinion. And they decided that he will have to have that surgery tomorrow. 8 weeks for the recovery time until he's able to start any sort of baseball activity, Dick.
Oh, that's not good news, Chris Button. Myers is such a catalyst atop the Padres batting order, and obviously it'll be maybe in September we might see him back in action. Well, in tonight's game, we're participating in the Home Run Challenge, and tonight every Padres home run raises $12,500 for prostate cancer research. You can make a pledge. Go online to homerunchallenge.org. So the Padres set to go on this road trip. They played 500 ball this year, 16-16 on the road. And here's the starting lineup brought to you by Toyota. Will Venable and Jan Solarte, Justin Upton and Matt Kemp. Yonder Alonso, the top average at .319. Derek Norris returns to Oakland. Corey Spanchenberg, Will Middlebrooks, and Alexi Amarista. The DH is Jan Solarte.
And Verizon Wireless gives you our scouting report on right-hander 31-year-old Jesse Chavez. 2-4-seam fastball, but predominantly the fastball, the cutter, and the changeup. Curveball, slider, maybe just a little bit, but not overpowering. And he has settled quite nicely into the starting role.
And the first pitch is swung on and missed by Venable. Venable checking in at .265 with 5 home runs and 5 stolen bases. Still plenty of sunshine out in right field and covering a part of center field. And that eventually will grow, and the next inning or two will have total shadows. What a beautiful day in the Bay. Chavez lays it in there, strike 3. A 3-pitch strikeout gets things going for Jesse Chavez. 60 degrees at game time as we check the starting defense for the Oakland A's. The outfield of Zobrist left, Burns and Reddick in center and right. Around the horn, Lowry, Simeon, Sogard, and Canna with Vogt behind the plate. First pitch to Solarte taken. Ball 1. Brian Gorman calling the balls and strikes. Solarte's average at .245, but he's had some big hits. And he's been especially tough with runners in scoring position, and he drops that one into right center field for the Padres' first hit. Burns having trouble locating it, but Solarte unable to advance. And the Padres have their first base runner.
Well, I love Solarte out of the box. That ball's hit the right center field. Now Burns, he's got to get in front of that. You never know what type of hop it's going to take, so be aggressive around first base. He was nearly a third of the way to second. Squaring that one up on the line. Love it.
Brings up Justin Upton, having an all-star year, .281 average, leading the club in all the significant offensive categories, home runs, RBIs. And I think it's surprising some of the fans that he's also the top base stealer at 13. He's on pace to have a 30 home run, 30 stolen base year.
Love it. 30-30 club for Justin Upton. Sounds good to me.
He's faced Chavez before, went 2 for 4. 1-1. Boy, you think about the last few games at Petco Park, the 2 balls that he hit that could have been home runs and robbed by terrific defensive plays. I mean, it really changed the course of the whole weekend.
No question about it. And hopefully those come in bunches to be positives for the Padres. Just keep swinging it, squaring it up. Ball's going to find the holes.
Ran into him at the hotel today and said, would you stop trying to hit the ball out of the park in center field? Pull the doggone thing.
Yeah, I kind of joked with him yesterday as well. You got to start pulling the ball. He said, you know what? I just need to keep swinging the way I'm swinging, and hopefully they will find the gap or get over the fence.
That's the proper attitude, isn't it? 1-2. And that one just misses. Chavez is slight of build, 6'2" and only 160 pounds. From Fontana, California, and went to Riverside Community College. Matt Kemp on deck.
That was a hanger there, and that was the hanging type of swing from Justin Upton. He wants that one back. Looked like a little slider or a little cutter that was left up in the zone. But Chavez has really had a unique career, back and forth. He's 31 years old, starter, reliever, reliever, starter, and he's found a nice niche for Bob Melvin in that rotation.
On the inside corner, Brian Gorman punches him out. Upton thought it was inside. Second strikeout, both called strike 3.
Boy, this looked inside. Wow.
Batting in the 4th position.
That's a bad start. When look at how far inside that is, and it's called strike 3. That's hurtful.
That's taking the bat right out of your number 3 hitter's hands. And Justin has a right to gripe.
Matt Kemp hit his first home run as a Padre at Petco yesterday. Perhaps that'll kickstart a run of long balls. Strike 1 at 91. 24 of his 34 runs batted in have been away from home. Kemp. That gum of Upton's taken a real punishment. Foul tip. 0-2. Changeup. Kemp yesterday sends one over the left center field fence. Number 3 on the year. First at Petco. 1-2.
You know, a lot of pitchers have been trying to pound Matt Kemp inside with the fastball and sliders down and away. That was a mistake that he crushed yesterday. It was inner third. It was up a little bit. Good looking swing. Good result.
Fouled away, and that one caught catcher Vogt. And it remains 1-2. Padres play the short 2-game series here in Oakland. Day game tomorrow will be on the air at 12:30 on Fox Sports San Diego. Then off to Arizona for 3, and then we come right back to the Bay and check in at the same hotel in San Francisco and play the Giants 3. Spoils that one. It was well directed, low and outside. Padres begin tonight in 4th place, but only 6 back of the Dodgers. Giants are 2.5 behind LA. Then Arizona 5.5. The Padres 6, and the Rockies 8.5. Strike 3. Strike 3. 3 strikeouts, all called strike 3. changeup gets Gonzalez.
That is a big league pinch, folks.
Espana gets Harrison for the second time. The 28-year-old native of Havana, Cuba, Odrisamer Despaigne, looking for his fourth win of the year. Here's the A's lineup, brought to you by Hyundai. Burns has caused plenty of trouble in the 2 games at Petco. Leads it off, and Semien, Reddick, Zobrist, the cleanup hitter. Vogt, who's probably going to go to the All-Star game as one of the American League catchers. Then the DH Billy Butler, Brett Lowry, Mark Canha, Eric Sogard hitting 9th. Espana set, and the first pitch from the right-hander is lined into right field. Boy, that Billy Burns, for a guy that had trouble, he's going to try to make a double out of this, and he does. Running all the way out of that batter's box, and Burns, he's become the darling of the Oakland A's fans the way he's playing, hitting over 300.
You could smell that one right out of the box. As soon as that ball was hit, Billy Burns, knowing that Matt Kemp has to go towards the right field line, and with his speed, turns on the fastball. He's got double right out of the gate. Doesn't even break stride, and he continues to be hot.
8-game hitting streak now as he extends his streak, and he's hit safely 20 out of 21. How did it take him so long to make it to the big leagues? At 26, he's finally a rookie in the majors. And he's here because Coco Crisp, the center fielder, is on the DL. Marcus Semien, Cal Berkeley graduate. Oh, they had him picked off, but Spanchenberg was not quite in sync with Despaigne, and it looked as if Burns was going to try to steal third.
I was just going to say, you better double look, you better triple look at second base when Burns is out there. He'll be taking that 90 feet on you now.
Semien hitting .271. Burns has 13 steals. He leads the A's. Bob Melvin in his 4th full year, head man of the Oakland A's. Line drive, right field, charged by Kemp. He has to play it on a short hop. Burns held and now moves to third. A couple of base hits get the Oakland A's going. They had a 9-1 and 6-5 victories at Petco, and they come out swinging tonight.
That's one of those in-betweeners to right field for Matt Kemp. Semien taking the ball the other way. A nice swing. Not over-swinging. And Matt Kemp caught in between and said, you know what, better play it safe. Keeping him at first base, save a run, try to work for a double play.
Tough sun field out there in right field, too.
Still nobody out.
Josh Reddick, the right fielder, .305 average. Off-speed breaking ball in for a strike. When you look at some of the numbers for the Oakland A's, their hitting has been solid. Their starting pitcher very good. It's only the bullpen that has let them down. They start tonight 28 and 39. They were 16 games under 500 back on May 22nd. They've improved 14 and 9 cents to be only 11 under 500, but for a long time had the worst record in the American League, and vying with Milwaukee for the worst in the majors. That one way out of play. Big foul territory, and of course that's always a comment here when you come to the Coliseum. Dual purpose facility, home of the Raiders as well, and good pitcher's ballpark. Look at all those outs in foul territory.
Hey, if your position players can cover some ground over near the dugouts and the bullpens, you're right. Take the bat out of the hands of the hitters. A lot of foul outs.
1-2. Despaigne could use the strikeout. 2-2. 90 on the fastball. Infield back, looking for a double play chance. There goes the runner from first, and it's popped up. They try to duke Semien, but he sees the foul, the fly ball, and Middlebrooks takes care of the out. Now the double play, and you can bail your pitcher out.
So a big out for Odrisamer Despaigne, and take a look at the scouting report for the Cuban-born right-hander. Hey, Sir mix-a-lot. We know that he mixes up his pitches quite a bit. Different arm angles, slider, cutter, curveball, changeup, and no shaking. Whatever Derek Norris puts down, we talked about in our pregame show, throw that pitch and hit the glove and hope for the best.
Big out on Reddick. Here's Ben Zobrist, 227 hitter. Hitting just 217 from the left side, this switch hitter. Home run yesterday, a 2-run shot at Petco in the 6-5 Oakland win. Off speed, ball 1. Zobrist, veteran, now 34 years of age. Acquired from Tampa January of this year with Yunel Escobar for John Jaso, Robertson, Boog, Powell, and Cash. That's a strike. 1-1.
Gonna have to keep an eye on the velocity of Despaigne. That one at 90, the last couple at 90. We've seen him touch 94. He'll pick his spots on that fastball. Pitching coach Darren Balsley having a little chat with Glenn Hoffman.
Semien at first, Burns at third. 1 out. Strike. 1-2.
Well, I'm guessing if Semien gets a jump, why not take it? He's in second place as far as stolen bases are concerned with the A's. Billy Burns in first place in that category with 13. Semien was 7. And Despaigne thinking along right there, just thrown over, and there you see the percentage for Semien.
Outside again, he went off speed. Well, Zobrist in the 6-5 win yesterday, able to pull that one into the right field corner, into the Petco porch. That was his 3rd home run of the season.
It was a changeup from Andrew Cashner. Just caught too much of the plate. Wasn't a bad pitch. It was just a bad pitch, poorly located. Andrew's got a heck of a changeup. Fastball away right here.
And that sends the count full.
I say send the runner here.
Semien takes his lead. He goes, and it's a line drive over Spangenberg's head. That'll score Burns, and on his way to third easily is Semien. It's 1-0 Oakland. '19th run batted in of the year for Zobrist. And the A's strike first.
No, so many things going on right there. First of all, with Zobrist working the count. That guy gives you a great at-bat each and every time. He works it full. You've got speed on first base with Semien, and Bob Melvin puts him in motion. Ball hits squarely off the bat of Zobrist. No first and third action.
That ball's 3 feet lower. It's a double play, but it sailed over Spangenberg's head. And here's Stephen Vogt. Vogt's average dropping down to 280. He had a 3-hit game Monday, but just 3 other hits in the month of June. 6 for 55, so he struggled here. June gloom for Vogt. But he leads the team in home runs and RBIs. 1-1. Leads the major league catchers in the most home runs and RBIs, even more than Derek Norris, who has more extra base hits than any catcher.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the DH, right? You can have your backup catcher hit. You can have Vogt DH, Fegley, when he catches, you can have him in the lineup. Keep that bat in the lineup. We saw Fegley catch yesterday at Petco. Bomel, they call him here in Oakland. Bob Melvin.
You go back with him, don't you?
He was a teammate of mine on the other side of the bay with the Giants.
Ground ball foul. That ball hit hard.
The starting defense for the Padres brought to you by your San Diego County Ford dealers. Middlebrook, Samarista, Spangenberg, and Alonso on the infield. Norris behind the plate. In the outfield, Upton and Kemp in the corners. Venable patrol center. Fly ball way out in front was Vogt. That'll sail down into the crowd. Well, two outstanding seasons, these catchers that we'll watch in the two-game series. Stephen Vogt and Derek Norris. Numbers quite similar. More RBIs, Vogt by 6 and 5 more home runs. Norris doing a great job behind the plate.
And let's not forget, not only the catching, or the numbers rather, but having to go behind the plate and call a game.
Swing and a foul tip hung on by Derek Norris. That makes it all the sweeter as Vogt goes down. First strikeout for Despagne. Brings up the DH, Billy Butler.
Fastball away. Look at the glove of Norris. Doesn't even move. Threads the needle, and Derek Norris hangs on. You betcha. Punches his ticket.
Professional hitter, Billy Butler. 249 his average this year, but a lifetime 295 batsman. Get out of this inning with just 1 run scoring. That would be somewhat of a moral victory.
Pretty good pitch.
That was a strike in the top half of the inning.
A lot of curveballs this inning for Despagne. He's got good break to it. He's keeping it down.
Butler crowds the plate, those elbows right over the inside corner. That ball drilled to deep left field. Back goes Upton to the wall and gone. A 3-run shot for Butler. Home run number 5. Oakland A's continuing to pound Padre pitching. 4-0 here in the first.
Well, after missing with the fastball, look at the setup. I mean, you talk about getting the gears going. Wide stance, brings the foot back, and then the stride, and works underneath it. And Justin Upton runs out of room.
Brett Lowry steps in.
He's not going to miss too many fastballs.
Padres, the challenge set early by the Oakland A's hitters. San Diego's going to have to rally from behind, which they have been so many times this year. Hate to see 4 spot. There's a looper to right center. A long run for Venable. Can he get there? No. And all the other hits, the other 4 in the inning were well struck. That's just a blue pit for Lowry with 2 outs. And here's Mark Canha.
Now, from a pitcher standpoint, you make a decent pitch and you see the swing, you see the ball off the bat, and you're like, oh, okay, good. Going to get out of the inning. Well, not the case here as we take a look. Another breaking ball, if taken well out of the zone. And a visit from Darren Balsley, the pitching coach.
So the inning started with Billy Burns leading off with a leg double. Semien single to right, first and third. Reddick popped up. Zobrist line single to make it 1-0. Then he got Vogt to strike out, but Butler nailed the pitch into the left field bleachers for a 3-run shot and a 4-0 lead, followed by Lowry's bloop single. 27 pitches already in the inning for Despaigne. Another Cal Berkeley product, Mark Canha. There's a heavy Bear influence in this lineup with Semien and Canha, teammates for a year at Berkeley, and their manager from Cal Berkeley, Bob Melvin.
Interesting dynamic on that bench with the A's, because Bob Melvin from Berkeley, as you said, and Mike Aldretti, his bench coach, a Stanford grad. So I'm sure there's some headbutting going on down there. Is our own Tyson Ross of Cal Bear back home.
One and one to Canha. So far, the fastball velocity hitting just 90 so far for Despaigne.
Well, you make a pitch like that last one, and the guy flares it, right? You throw one right down the middle, and the guy tops it, and it's a 3-hopper to the third baseman. This game would drive you absolutely bonkers.
Just outside, 2-1.
Only the workload. Oof. 30 pitches for OD. Odrisamer Despaigne.
Yeah, the Padres with those 2 extra inning games in Atlanta. There were wins, but when you go into bonus panels, that pitching staff really gets more duty than a manager wants. Then you have another against the Dodgers, and it takes a while to recover for the entire pitching staff. So you want Despaigne and those that follow, the starters, to give you good innings. Line drive slicing into the right field corner, foul. Well, let's check on our keys to the game tonight, brought to you by your San Diego Honda dealers.
All right, keep Burns off the bases. Dick talked about it earlier, doing well in the leadoff spot, and he has already paid off. A double, scored a run. And support for Despaigne. Well, already down 4-0. Hopefully the bats can bounce back. It's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, Despaigne in 9 starts. In 6 of those, the Padres scored no runs.
Yes.
That's really lack of support. 2-2 to Canha. Nice pick by Derek Norris and a flick throw down to first base.
Boy, you're telling me that is one heck of a pick there. Breaking ball in the dirt, moving to his right. Secondary lead, thinking about it, but getting back safely.
By the way, Butler's home run was just his 2nd in the last 49 games. He would have to pick tonight the club one, wouldn't he? Full count. Lowry off with a pitch. And a sharp ground ball to short. Amarista too late there. Back to first. Got him there. That's a tough way to get a single out on a double play action. 6-4-3. They do get the hitter, Canha, and the inning comes to an end. Melvin checking with his video crew to see whether he should challenge. I think there ought to be a 10-second clock on these. Either you challenge or you don't. You don't wait, and apparently now he is not. And satisfied that the putout will go 6-4-3 to retire Canha, but 4 runs on 5 hits for the A's as they jumpstart a 4-0 lead tonight. working with the comfort of a 4-0 early lead, faces Alonso, Norris, and Spangenberg. Alonso's average at .319 leads the Padres. 1-1. Darren Bowlsley, a little tutoring with Despagne. Hey, okay, forget about that one and let's go on and shut him out the rest of the way.
Yeah, part of the mind game as a position player or a pitcher. Gotta forget about the last pitch, good or bad.
2-1 to Yonder. And 3-1. Norris returns to Oakland. He waits his turn. At the knees, 3-2. Well, we talked about Despagne, no runs in 6 of his 9 starts. Look at Chavez in the major leagues, the worst support of all, 1.94, as Alonso sends a high fly ball to center. Routine for Burns, 1 away. And here's tonight's cold hard fact, brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Referring to this ballpark, it's the 5th oldest in the major leagues. First played in 1968. I was here in '69. It was old then. It hasn't improved.
Yeah, it's hey, it's yeah.
Fenway and Wrigley and Dodger Stadium have character. Angel Stadium's like a new stadium by comparison to the Coliseum. It's now the O.Co. Coliseum.
Right. Will they ever get a new ballpark? Will the A's stay in Oakland? So many unanswered questions. I mean, great tradition. My goodness, the players that have worn the uniform here, the World Championships, 4 of them.
Boy, that group of players in the early 70s. I mean, that was, you talk about the big red machine, Cincinnati, but 72, 73, 74. That was a Hall of Fame cast of characters here for Charles Finley. Had the audacity to dress his team in green and gold. Everyone criticizing it. He looked like a softball team.
Yeah.
Raleigh Fingers, Hall of Fame. Saw some time with the Padres as well. Norris takes away 1-2.
I wish I could go back and see Jim Catfish Hunter
What a
in the heyday and watch Reggie swing the shillelagh back in the day.
Sal Bando, Joe Rudy, Gene Tennis, who also migrated to San Diego. Outside 2-2. I mean, just the colorful pitching staff. Vida Blue, Blue Moon Odom, Catfish Hunter. There were no soft spots. Then they got Ken Holtzman from the Cubs.
Yes. Good left-hander.
Inside, and the count full to Derek Norris. Dick Williams, the manager of those teams. Campy Campaneris, shortstop. I mean, they were all stars. Tried to go to right field. Good protective swing. Spoiled that one. Well, as you look at the Bay Area teams, the Warriors winning the NBA championship in 6. Completed the deal last night. So the entire Bay Area excited about that. Of course, the 49ers, Bill Walsh, and that group, the Raiders. It's hard to believe 25 years as Norris gets into one deep to left field. Back to the wall and leaping and making the catch is Zobrist. Boy, the Padres are hitting balls so well of late, right to the wall and making stars out of defensive play in the opposing outfield.
You know, the amazing thing is we take a look at Derek Norris getting this high pitch, hitting it well. You're not going to hear him complain. He's going to forget about that at bat and try to get him the next time. Kind of jumped a little early, Zobrist did, but the bottom line is he squeezed it for the out, and Derek just didn't get enough of it.
So 2 away, and Corey Spangenberg the batter. Hitting .292 the last 22 games. The more he's played, the better Spangenberg has hit. He's raised his average up to .250. Off-speed breaking ball, 0-2.
Well, as Zobrist goes back, he's on the track, thinking the wall is a little bit closer, because watch, when he jumps and catches it, he comes back down with plenty of room to spare. You're in good hands.
A ball, 2 strikes, Spangenberg. Use his hands now to get on base.
That's a great thing about Derek. He just no excuses. Accountable as they come. And we've seen him many times behind the plate. If he's made a mistake, he'll tap his chest protector. Say, my bad. Hey, yeah. I got it. I'll pick you up. All business.
Another called strike 3. 4 strikeouts, all called by Brian Gorman.
My mutant.
And let him know in a text message.
I've yet to respond. Actually, Sogi's one of my favorite guys I've ever been involved with. I love the kid. One of the biggest thrills for me is to see Sogi in the big leagues, and I mean that. I mean, his family, who he is as a person, how he goes about his work. I pull for him, except for yesterday.
Was he apologetic or rubbing in your face in the text?
He wasn't apologetic.
Well, Murphy said yesterday that games like yesterday are sour, and they leave an extra sour taste when it ends with your old player serving you your loss.
Ground ball to second, Chris, and Spangenberg takes care of Sogard, who played for Murphy at Arizona State. And so their friendship goes back to the collegiate days. So, top of the order, Billy Burns has started the 4-run first inning with a double.
Billy Burns. Great tradition there at Arizona State. A lot of Sun Devils making it to the big leagues. Great rosters through the years for a long time.
Including the number 9 up there that saluted at the Coliseum here in Oakland, Richie Jackson. Bando went there. Bump Wills, Maury Wills' kid.
Yeah, and the first player taken ever in the draft by Major League Baseball, Rick Monday. And he played for the Kansas City A's out of Arizona State back in the KC days.
Oh, well, maybe that'll slow Burns down. Clipped him down below the waist. And he jogs unharmed to first base.
You can hear that one all the way up here. That hits. That sounds like it hits bone on the outside part of that right knee.
The old tradition, don't rub it, get to first base. But Bob Melvin wants to make sure his man is okay. That'll slow you down.
A reminder that coming up in the next inning, A.J. Preller, the Padres general manager, will be with us. Get a State of the Union, insights as to the hiring. Interim manager Pat Murphy looking ahead to the possible trades of late July, and we'll ask him about the minor league system with Will Myers now going under the knife and being lost to the Padre offense. Is there an outfielder that they have their eyes on that might be coming up?
You think he's going to go on the first pitch here, Burns? After
He
getting
might,
hit?
yeah. I bet he does. Yeah, that'd be the perfect time to do it. He's got a good lead. Yeah, Despagne said I better check on him.
You know, it's the old fool him. You get hit in the leg and you hobble down the first base, then next pitch, bam, you're off and running.
Yeah, it's the way to pay back. He hit me, I'll hit you with my stolen base. He bluffs. The A's with a 4-0 lead. This is a team with the worst record at home in the American League. They're only 11-18 on the season. High fly ball, right field. That sends Kemp back a few steps. Tagging is Burns, and he will not try to advance. Good throw by Kemp. 2 away, and tonight's game, we want to remind you, is presented in HD by Sony 4K. Josh Reddick popped up his first time. I mean, this A's team is third in the American League in ERA. Their starters are first in the American League. They're hitting fifth in the American League, a .255 team average, and it puzzles you. How can they be 28-39 and struggling?
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit yesterday as far as the run differential for this swinging A's team. They win big, they lose close. A lot of one-run games, well below 500 in that category. And it was evident that one game when they won 9-1 back on Monday.
And the bottom side of their season is the bullpen. It's the worst in the American League at 4.69. With 2 outs, Burns a definite threat.
He's getting that costume dirty.
He leads the A's with 13. Upton leads the Padres with 13. There he goes. Norris's throw right there. What a throw by Norris. He has his 21st victim caught stealing. That's got to be satisfying to the former A's catcher, who was criticized for not throwing out runners here in Oakland. He leads the major leagues this year as a Padre catcher. A laser out to second.
against Jesse Chavez, who has now gone 21 consecutive innings without allowing an earned run. Middlebrooks takes strike one as A.J. Preller, the Padres general manager, kind enough to visit us for a half inning or so. And I guess the obvious first question, A.J., is, as a general manager, a lot of decisions to be made. They're all difficult, but probably none more difficult than the one you had to make this week.
Yeah, I think obviously tough week this week, and I think everybody with making the decision to make a change on the manager, Buddy, is is definitely a tremendous person, and anytime you're sitting there and making a change at the top there, it's definitely not an easy week. Weren't easy conversations, but ultimately it was something that I thought we needed to do going forward.
AJ, was it a no-brainer that you're going to stay within the organization internally to fill that spot?
Yeah, I think in the last week or so, as we were looking at, or at least I was thinking about the possibility of making a change. You think of different names and everything like that, but I do know that it felt good that we had some guys internally that I thought could take the helm and were good candidates, and ultimately ended up going with Pat Murphy.
And with the move by Murphy from El Paso, the AAA farm club, then you had to fill that void, and you've made that decision as well, and then you have to shuttle some of your leadership down in the minors.
Yeah, I think obviously not ideal, as you go through the minor league season, and you want to have some continuity there as well. We ended up moving, Jamie Quirk going from AA to AAA, and there's a ripple effect, but that's, I think, gives guys opportunities, and gives some guys opportunities to go to some different levels and move guys throughout the system and give them a chance to continue to move up as well.
2-1 now to Amarista, one out in the third. The news, Will Myers today will have surgery. That's disappointing for all of us. He was such an energizer at the top of the Padre lineup. Is there someone that you might have in mind, or is there, as you look over the minor league system, is there a bat there that might come up and give the Padres an added kick in the outfield?
Yeah, I think I think for the most part, I think you're going to need guys to step up at the big league level, and that's what we're hoping for. Will Venable's done a nice job for us in center field. Yonder Alonso coming back off the DL himself has continued to swing the bat well this year, and clearly we're going to continue to ask a lot of Upton and Norris, and then hope that Kemp gets going. And I think if Matt gets going, I think that takes away a lot of the void from losing Will, who I think we had a chance to see here in the first month or so of the season that he's a talented guy and he can fill a lot of roles, and it's definitely a loss. With him going forward for the next, hopefully it's closer to 6 weeks, but somewhere in that in that 6 to 8 week time frame.
AJ, what are some of the qualities that you see that you could share with the fans in San Diego who watch quite a bit, and our diehard fans in Pat Murphy that you see?
I think Pat he's been managing now for over 30 years. He's been in a lot of different dugouts, a lot of different situations. He obviously had success at the college level, and then took that to the pro level, and he's been in our system now for the last 6 years, so he's got some he's familiar with our system and our players. He's managed actually quite a few guys that are on the roster, and been around a bunch of guys in spring training. He's obviously very competitive, and I think that's his reputation, and he's a guy who likes to get in the mental game with the players, and I think he's a guy that's shown that he's been able to get the guys to play at a higher level, and he's got a lot of guys in the big leagues that swear by him. The Dustin Pedroias and the Kipnesses and some of those guys that came through his program, and same in the Padres system, so we're hoping he gives us a little spark.
Venable to count 2-2, and he goes down swinging, and that's 6 strikeouts for Jesse Chavez. So thanks for taking some time with us. You got to go down and get at least 4 runs here to keep us going.
Yeah, we got to stop meeting like this. So.
Thanks, AJ.
Right, thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
passed away in a car accident, and a drunk driver hit him and ended up passing away from that. And his number was 25, and so I always write 25 in the back of the mound.
Yeah, tonight after Padres Live, as we go to the bottom of the third inning, 4-0 Oakland. Fox Sports San Diego shines the spotlight on James Shields, who gives you the inside story on his journey to the Padres. Very interesting man. This is Josh Reddick, and he swings and fouls. Then catch an encore presentation as well tonight. SD Live honoring the great Tony Gwynn after Padres Live on Fox Sports San Diego. Ted Leitner and yours truly having a chance to sit down with Alicia Gwynn, and she really gives some very interesting insights into her husband.
That's when you don't want to miss.
Reddick, Zobrist, and Vogt in the third inning for the A's. Jay Proler, if you have to feel sorry for, you bring in a guest and and his team is down 4-0. He's not real happy about the score, and he shouldn't be, as Spangenberg, playing shallow right field, takes care of Reddick, one away. He said, I've got to find a time where I come up and talk to you guys when we're leading. But that's usually how it works out, isn't it?
Yeah, he said, next time when we're up 6-0, I'll pay you a visit.
Now batting left fielder, number 18,
Ben Zobrist lined a RBI single to right field his first time. Off speed in there. Well, tomorrow a day game, 12:30 here on Fox Sports San Diego. Ian Kennedy on the mound for the Padres against Kendall Graveman. He's 3-3 and off a very good start his last time out. Ground ball fair by the dive of Alonso. Deep into the corner. This could be 3. Zobrist around second. He's headed for third, and he's going to make it without a throw. This is a triples ballpark. That's the 19th triple by the A's this year. By comparison, the Padres with only 13.
Oh, yeah, we saw one yesterday in San Diego off the bat of Billy Burns, driving in 2 runs. Just out of the reach of Alonso. He is set. One hop, past the glove, past the dive. Zobrist had a pitch inside. Didn't even look at the third base coach, Mike Gallego. He played that one all himself, and he cruises in for a triple.
So with one out, here's Stephen Vogt. Chance to add to the 4-0 lead. That's the first triple of the season for Zobrist.
Shift on, right side heavy. Middlebrooks by himself at third base.
Ball 1. Vogt foul tip strikeout in the first inning.
Now Alexi comes back over to the shortstop side.
Two and 0.
Talk about hot zones quite a bit, and look at Vogt. Okay, you're the pitcher and you're looking in. He likes to turn on the ball on the inside corner. 476 down and away with the soft stuff, hopefully from Despaigne. Also will chase up and away, but pretty level, belt high, mid zone across the plate.
Fastball strike at 90 miles an hour. High deep drive to right field, hooking down into the corner, and foul. Well back. Vogt, a very interesting guy, and he has served as a umpire as well during his days. And he can mimic the best of them. I think we've got a little surprise for you later. Drive to left field. Upton is played perfectly, but that's well deep enough for Zobrist to sprint home. It's 5-0. 46 RBIs for Stephen Vogt.
That's a classic example of a hitter just taking what he's given and not doing too much. Taking that ball the opposite way on the pitch that was up and getting that run home. Elevating the ball to the outfield. Check out the swing. Spiny tries to go down and away. Doesn't try to pull it. Stays on it nicely. Elevates to the outfield.
Butler, a 3-run homer in the first inning. Number 5 on the season. Sharply hit. Oh, in between Hop. Middlebrooks makes a good play. And so does Alonso. Dig it out at first. But another run. It's 5-0. All right, thanks, gents. 5-0. The A's lead, and meanwhile, Jesse Chavez 6 strikeouts through 3 innings. Solarte, Upton, and Kemp for the Padres here in the 4th. Solarte has the only hit so far for San Diego, a single to right field.
Well, he's hitting his spots, working the ball in and out first time around the lineup, and he's not that overpowering. That last fastball was 89.
Change up, and Solarte out in front.
Actually, the second pitch of this at bat caught a lot of the plate, but Jan Hervis could not connect with it.
Foul tip, strike 3, 7 strikeouts. Well, time now for our T-Mobile game changer as we look at the Oakland Athletics pitching this year. The starters leading the American League with a 3.04 ERA.
Yeah, bridging that gap to Tyler Clippard has been the Achilles heel for these swinging Athletics. 4.69 ERA for the bullpen, so quite a contrast. And Bob Melvin even said before the game, very, very tough with the bullpen they've had bridging that gap.
Upton took a third strike, a questionable third strike, his first time. There's another pitch that looked a little outside, and Upton's wondering, okay, they called it inside on me, now outside. How wide is this plate going to be? That's a pitcher's pitch, though, knee high right at the corner.
That ball drilled but foul.
Well, Chavez is he's touched 88 with the fastball. He's hit 92. That last strikeout to Solarte was a fastball elevated by design at 92. So he's not just set at one speed. Looks like he's changing speeds on the old number one.
Another changeup. So his record, you look in the paper in the morning and you say, well, here's the pitching matchups, and Chavez 2-6 for the A's. You think, well, hey, he's having a bad year. His ERA is 2.64. He's allowed only 3 home runs all year. And he obviously has got strikeout stuff. 7 of them tonight.
Take a look at the arsenal for the right-hander. Cutter heavy. That's such a good pitch. If you can master that pitch and locate it, you're going to break some bats. And then following up with the fastball changeup, then a couple of breaking balls.
Outside. And that's the first full count. Ground ball sharply, but to the third baseman Lowry, and the throw across in time. 2 away. Ten in a row now retired by Chavez.
Now batting.
Well, the National League All-Star balloting numbers come in today. Bryce Harper, boy, look at that, almost twice as many as Matt Holliday. But Justin Upton moving into that 6th spot in the order.
Yeah, get out and vote. Early and often.
The surprising name on that is Nori Aoki, almost 3 million votes. There's a drive to left field for a base hit. Matt Kemp with the second Padre base knock. That ends a string of 10 consecutive outs from Chavez. Padres need something to happen here. Take a bite out of that 5-0 Oakland lead.
Well, the home run off the bat of Matt Kemp yesterday was on the first pitch in the 8th inning, the solo shot. First pitch here. No, you're not going to get in my kitchen. I'm going to turn on that, and it's a one-hopper out to Zobrist.
Alonso flied to center his first at bat. And a soft ground ball up the middle. Easy play for the second baseman, and the Padres' 4th is in the books. Here in Oakland, it's all A's, 5-0.
The 5-0 lead. Lowry, loop single his first time. Then it's Canna and Sogard, bottom 3 batting order for Oakland. Big swing and a miss. 4 runs in the first inning, 3 of them on Billy Butler's home run, and a triple on the sacrifice fly. Another run in the third. So 2 games here in Oakland tonight. Tomorrow a day game at a little after 12:30. We'll be on the air right at 12:30 here on Fox Sports San Diego. Then off to Arizona for 3 Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then back to the Bay for 3 against the Giants. Well, he takes a wind up and a swing, doesn't he?
Yes,
Lowry?
he does. He's got one thing in mind. Hey, the Dancing Friars here. 2 yahoos from San Diego who hang out at Petco Park making the road trip. Love it. Love those guys. Big fans.
He's just wild about Harry, the one on the right.
Those guys have a blast.
All in good fun, huh? Well, we want to send along with the congratulations to the Golden State Warrior fans. How about Steve Kerr, their first-year coach? You know, Kerr got his job because of Fox Sports San Diego. Remember the Midway game, Syracuse and San Diego State on the aircraft carrier?
Yes.
And they heard his incredible insights into the game of basketball. They said, we ought to hire him as the head coach.
I'm a big Steve Kerr fan.
He's a terrific guy. Good on him. And the Warrior team. If only they had somebody who could shoot from outside.
Hey, time now for the tools of the trade, brought to you by Ram Trucks. We're going to focus on Derek Norris. Last year with the Oakland Athletics. Look at this throw down to second base. Now take this in mind against the Angels. Last year only 8 runners caught stealing, thrown out. Right now with the Padres, he's our guy. 21. One of them tonight from Derek Norris. That's right. He's wearing a Padre uni. He's a stud, and he's our guy. Sorry about it. Billy Bean, you can take a hike.
Easy now.
I could say that. We go way back.
Mark Canna grounded out into an unusual 6-4-3. Not double play, but out.
Billy Bean was in my wedding. That's why I can.
Is that right?
Yeah. Always giving each other a hard time. Phone calls, texts, ripping one another.
Well, you must have developed a relationship.
It was when we were
back
when we were playing. Yeah, back in the late '80s. Back when I had hair and 100 pounds lighter.
What was his position? Infield?
You know what? He was an outfielder, drafted as an outfielder, but he could play first base, and he started to switch hit later after he was drafted. First round pick by the New York Mets.
Canna. And the count goes 2-1. Was there any insight as you knew him as a young player that you said, you know, someday this guy is so smart, knows the game so well, he has a future in the front office?
That's a great question, Dick, because as we got to know one another, I remember him telling me a story when he was in the minor leagues. Frank Cashin was the general manager of the Mets. He used to make his rounds. You know, they'd go around to the minor league parks. And I remember Billy telling me he'd see Frank Cashin sit behind home plate. And he said, you know what? When I'm done playing, that's exactly what I want to do. I want to stay in the game of baseball and be a general manager. And what do you know? As time went on, he's been one of the more successful ones.
Set his goal and reached it very successfully.
Was supposed to go to Stanford on a football scholarship as a quarterback out of high school. Mount Carmel in San Diego.
Chop to second. Spangenberg will get the front runner. The back to first, not even a throw by Amarista as they erase Lowry on the fielder's choice. Canna at first base. Number 9 hitter, Eric Sogard. Well, it's easy to pick out our San Diego fan of the game.
Yeah. Those are our guys.
Looks like Back in the Future, doesn't he, a little bit?
Our star guy. Yeah, Dr. Emmett Brown and his dog Einstein. Yeah, good call. 1.21 gigawatts. Hopefully some electricity in these Padre bats. tonight.
Yeah, somebody better turn that on switch. Sogard grounded to second his first time. Yeah, there you get a look at what the Sox.
Love that.
You don't get to see all the Sox very often. 2-0.
Wish more guys would go back to the traditional stirrups. Show those stripes. Corey Spangenberg does it for the Padres.
Well, some players, and I think there's some credence to it all, feel that by wearing your pants high, that you bring the strike zone up. That the opposing pitcher doesn't get as many strikes at the knees because it looks like that strike zone is much higher to the umpire.
Interesting, yeah. Heard that.
Ground ball to first. Alonso has the runner and run. Go back, get the out there. That's now what?
He tagged second base, didn't he?
Yeah, that's only. Did we miss an out here? That's only the second out.
Oh, he threw to. He did not touch first, so there was still a force play. Threw it to second base.
Yeah, he did. He didn't touch first base.
Or did the second base umpire? Did the second base umpire think that Alonso stepped on first, so therefore taking off the force?
No, he didn't step on first. I thought he would because you had only one step to get to the bag. He didn't do that.
He did not step on first base. I think he went to second. I think the second base umpire. Did he go to second base for the force? Okay, no touch, so still the force is on. Yeah, he's out at second base. Out on the force, and then got him on the back end.
Okay, all right.
I was confused for a second, too.
Because you thought he would go to the bag first and then to second base, but he gets the job done. Double play is the rule. Because Amarista thought their force was off as well.
I think it was boiling down to vantage points from both Alexi Amarista and the manager for the Oakland Athletics, Bob Melvin. Because I think, first of all, from Melvin's standpoint, he thought that Alonso stepped on first base and then went to second base. Therefore, the force would be off.
Amarista thought the same.
Exactly.
Well, it all worked out. A 3-6-3 double play. And I think Yonder was coaching Amarista. Throw it back to me.
So let's, vantage point. You're in the dugout for the A's. And from your vantage point, it looks like he steps on first. So therefore, the force is off. Guy gets in a pickle. Amarista was confused, and Alonso's like, wait. I didn't step on the bag. It's a double play. Just give it to me. What are you doing?
Yeah, the final result worked out nicely for the Padres. The first double play of the night. Top of the fifth inning, Norris will lead it off with Spangenberg and Middlebrooks to follow. He just missed a home run his first time up, sent left fielder Zobrist right to the wall in left field. And the count goes to 3-1. Padres need base runners and base hits. 5-run mountain to climb. slack. Foul.
You know, you could understand, and we know Derek Norris, at the time he's been with the Padres, why he would also be a fan favorite here in Oakland, just his style of play. And when he was with Oakland, he had the major salad and the major beard working.
Ground ball up the middle, but there's the shortstop Semien to throw him out.
Just that hardcore play. He was also a fan favorite here in Oakland.
Well, the voting continues for the All-Star game, and Norris has moved up a notch to the 4th spot, ahead of Yasmani Grandal, and very close to Cervelli, but it's going to be tough to catch Posey and Molina. Pretty good list. Spanchenberg took a 3rd strike his first time, and he tried. That's strike 1. 7 strikeouts for Jesse Chavez. His career high is 9. Came over from Toronto in 2012 in a cash deal. Talk about a long shot. Out of Riverside Community College, Texas, in 2002, drafted him in the 42nd round.
I love stories like that.
He was just kind of a throw a dart at the board at the end of the draft, and you get him, and he's a big leaguer. To left field, and shallow to Zobrist. 2 outs. Our closed captioning tonight's game brought to you by Wiener Schnitzel.
You know, Dick, I laughed at that comment you just made, but I'm wondering, this game of baseball has crazy personalities. There has to be a story out there to where they're in the draft room and somebody takes a dart and they just throw it and they take it. Come on. You get done the late rounds and it's pretty much pick 'em, right?
Exactly.
There's got to be.
Well, you figure that 42nd round is about 1,259 players picked before you, or around that number.
Right.
I mean, that really is the definition of a long shot. And he's hit the board here as a long shot. 2 outs to Middlebrooks, who took a swinging strike 3. First time.
Or you get the couple scouts in the room and you're down to those like last few guys. Okay, hey, I want my guy. No, I want my guy. Okay, let's flip a coin. Okay, you get Edberg. Right?
He'll never make it. Swing and a miss. Strikeout number 8. We're at the halfway mark, and it's still Oakland 5-0. Gonna look at you.
Butler! I can beat you in a race right now. challenge you to a 40-yard dash. Hey, Butler, the ball. Hey, here's the ball. Hey, oh, come. I could beat you in a race right now.
That was when we took those great seats down by the dugout, and Mark Grant, being the great fan he is, on Butler's case.
He was a good sport about it. He had some fun with that. Talked to him before the game today, batting practice, and got him a little bit in San Diego as well. He's a good sport.
It's one of our Geico memorable moments. Top of the order, Billy Burns pops it up behind short. Racing in is Venable and Upton. Venable calls him off for the first out. They finally get Burns off base. He has doubled and scored and hit by a pitch. Marcus Semien comes up, a single and a fly out. Elsewhere, Texas continuing to trouble the Dodgers at Los Angeles, leading 4-0 in the fourth. Houston has a 6-3 lead in the sixth inning in Colorado. So the Dodgers, not exactly burning up the opposition here, and the Padres with a chance to move up in the standings here, 6 games back, but having trouble picking up the wins of their own.
Every team has their streaks, whether it's wins or losses.
High fly ball hit well. Kemp giving ground to the wall and makes the catch. Had it measured just right as Semien flirts with extra bases. Two outs.
Dick, I was talking about streaks, winning and losing. I forgot what year it was, but I remember the Padres as Semien gets under this one just a little bit too much to keep it in the yard. Plenty of room for Matt. I forgot what year it was, but the Padres had a 14-game winning streak. And they still ended up, whatever it was, third or fourth place after the year was over. But my point is, no matter how good or bad you are, you have that potential to put in that streak together. And if you could keep it relatively close, 4 games, 6 games, hey, got to keep that positive attitude and try to keep grinding.
Hey, we're not even close to the All-Star break yet. Ground ball by Reddick to the lone man on the left side, Middlebrooks. Low throw, but Alonso would pick up. And a 1-2-3 inning for the first time for Odrisamer Despaigne.
From here, I can go charge, I can go block, and I can go straight up in the air. Yeah. Green, 2, 3, player out of control, out of bounds. Bring
Some basketball officiating by Stephen Vogt. Very clever.
Oh, so funny. And he has the mannerisms down to a, no pun intended, to a T.
High fly ball off the bat of Amarista to right field. He got a lot of it. Back to the wall, and Amarista will touch them all. Little Ninja. His second of the season, and the Padres ruined the bit of a Jesse Chavez shutout. It's now 5-1. Maybe that'll get the Padres offense rolling. Only their third hit.
First pitch fastball in. Vogt was set up inside on contact, upper thigh. And Alexi Amarista crushes that one.
You know, the outfield limits here are very friendly for the home run. You saw the 367 sign, and then it angles back toward home plate to 362 in the power alleys. 362, not 385 or 375. And the same in left field. It's 330 down the line, then 367. Then it angles into 362 in the power alley. Venable struck out both times tonight. Well, I haven't lost my touch, have I? I picked Venable and picked the stick. You were probably worried that maybe I wouldn't. I'd come back really roaring. But I'm very secure down there in the cellar.
Well, it's a long season.
Yeah, that's what I heard. But down there in the basement, it gets a little drafty, a little cool and damp at times. But
we'll send you some food down there.
Yeah, got my cot laid out, my little pillow and my blankie.
We'll send you some Chardonnay down there.
Okay. That's the only reason I like it in the basement, because the wine cellar is right next door. Full count now to Venable. And he strikes out again, so he's punched out all 3 times. And that ties Chavez career high in strikeouts, number 9.
And time now for the Cholula flamethrower. Let's check it out. Not going to overpower the radar guns. 93 on the fastball. That's mild.
He's getting the job done with his stuff. 9 strikeouts, and his control is outstanding. No walks.
That's a great point. The changeup coming into effect, especially right there. First pitch changeup to Solarte.
As one of the 3 Padre hits, Kemp has a single, and then, of course, Amarista's home run to lead off the 6th inning. Padres would like to get into that bullpen. Worst in the American League. Chavez now at the 82 pitch mark. First earned run allowed by Chavez at home in 24 innings. A home run by Amarista. He was 8-8 last year, Chavez, with a solid ERA. Change up, and Solarte's gone. 10 strikeouts.
Wow. Started him with a changeup and finished him off with a changeup.
Career high for Chavez.
Getting up on top with the arm speed like a fastball.
Justin Upton.
We got a game break coming up, so stay tuned. Texas at LA. Rangers, Dodgers. Mike Pomerantz and Mark Sweeting will fill you in.
So after the home run by Amarista, Chavez bounces back, striking out Venable, Solarte, and here's Upton. He struck out and hit the ball hard, but right to the third baseman Lowry is last time. I still can't get over that catch made by Jock Peterson on his drive.
Yep.
That just was such a crushing blow to the Padres. A brilliant catch by Peterson. At the end of the season, I think you'll look back, and that was one of the key plays of this entire year. That wins the series against the Dodgers.
Yeah, you're right. That series could have went either way. Played him close.
Yeah, it'd be 4 out instead of 6 out if that ball goes over the fence. Well, I know it's rubbing salt in the wound, but here it is again. That had the right sound. Peterson just I mean, carelessly. It was a brave catch. He knew the wall was coming and ready to take the blow, and still hung on to the ball. Upton thought he had won the game with that blast. 3-1 now, the count. Bases were loaded, weren't they?
It was definitely a game winner if it gets through.
Outside, and there's the first walk given up by Chavez tonight.
I had that weekend off, Dick, I believe. So I don't know if it was.
We both were off, so I was watching on television and cheering. I thought that ball, surely from the sound of the swing, was going to be a home run. Game was tied at the time in the 8th inning. Matt Kemp singled in the 4th inning, struck out in the 1st. 5-1 Oakland's lead. 2-out walk to Upton. '90th pitch coming up from Chavez. With all the strikeouts, the pitch count goes up with it.
And you know, this is one of those situations we talked about in spring training, to where the Padres have with one swing to try to get back into it within 3. One swing of the bat, make it 5-3, then you're within 2. Pretty good job as far as the workload for Chavez. 18 is the most he's thrown. That was back in the 2nd inning.
Oh, 2. Still alive. Say Goldschmidt hit his 19th tonight. How about Giancarlo Stanton? He's got 24. Harper 22. Pujols leads the American League with 19. Ground ball left side. Lowry there and goes to short way for the out. And that's it for the Padres, but they dent the scoreboard. 9th man in the order, Alexi Amarista, drives one to right field. His 2nd home run of the season. It's 5-1 Oakland.
All right, thank you, Mike. And Zobrist lifts one to left field right at Upton for the first out. And Despagne, since that first inning when he gave up 4 runs on 5 hits, has allowed only 1 hit. The triple by Zobrist that became the 5th run.
Now batting the catcher.
Got Raleigh Fingers and Dennis Eckersley. Do they have a race here in Oakland? In the Hall of Fame race? Hey, that's a good likeness of both of them.
It is indeed. A couple of great relief pitchers, although Eckersley was also an outstanding starter. In fact, I called his no-hit, no-run game when he was a starter with the Cleveland Indians. Yeah. And speaking of relief pitching, the Padres pen is busy. Nick Vincent and Frank Garces throwing. Referee vote. He struck out and knocked in a run with a sacrifice fly. He leads the club now with 46 runs batted in. There's Garces, the lefty, and Vincent, the right-hander. Into the shift. Amarista playing on the second base side throws him out. Let's go down to Chris Button. What do you have for us?
Well, Dick, there are a few of these current Padres players that played under Pat Murphy down in AAA and got a chance to speak with Austin Hedges before the game. I said, what was he like as your manager with the Chihuahuas? And he said, he's just a guy who understands how guys tick. He's a great communicator, but not only does he tell you how to improve, but he listens to you. Great communication. Said he's one of the best leaders he's ever worked with.
Yeah, that's good news to hear as Billy Butler, who has a 3-run home run, cracks a line drive single to left field. It's only the 7th hit tonight for Oakland and the 2nd since the first inning. Brings up Brett Lowry. Lowry singled and walked. 2 outs here in the 6th. So if you go back to that first inning when Burns doubled, Simeon singled, Zobrist singled in a run, then Butler hit a 3-run home run. But I said, I hope Despagne can get a couple more innings out of this. Well, he's certainly done well all the way to 2 outs in the 6th. Trying to check the A's here.
Well, tremendous movement on that last 2-seam fastball. Pitch number 87 coming up. Remember earlier we said Lowry with that big swing. See if he goes soft on him here to try to take that sting out of the bat. Oh, fastball again.
Well outside, 2-1.
Trying to stay out of the heart, trying to live on the corners.
Former first-round pick by Milwaukee, Lowry. He's just 25 and lives in the spring home of the Padres in Peoria, Arizona. 2-2 now. So Chavez has thrown 93 pitches and Despagne 88 as he's a strike away from getting out of the 6th inning. And there it is, strike 3 called. Again, that big strike zone to Brian Gorman. We go to the 7th, 5-1 Oakland. today. 31-year-old Jesse Chavez, who has been outstanding at home this year. Great ERA and the strikeout pitch working 10 tonight. And then Billy Butler with a 3-run home run in the bottom of the first against Despagne. That made it 4-0. Oakland, they had to get run in the third, and the only score for the Padres, the solo home run by the little ninja, Lexi Amarista, his second of the season. It's a 5-1 score as we go to the top of the 7th. Yonder Alonso has flied out and grounded out. Norris and Spangenberg to follow. Try to cook up some business here in the 7th. Get into that Oakland bullpen. Oh, 2. Oh, he's really done a great job of changing speeds all night long.
He really has. And, you know, a couple of years, maybe about a year ago, he switched to going to the 2-seamer, Chavez did. Threw a lot of 4-seamers earlier, but creating a lot of movement. Wow. We saw some faithful A's fans in San Diego with the sweet get-ups.
I think that's left over from the black hole football. Ground ball weakly to the left side. And the throw across by Semien. One away. Well, one of the great golf events of each year, the Grand Slam U.S. Open Championship. And tomorrow, the greatest in the world will try to win that classic up in the Pacific Northwest, 115th U.S. Open Championship, live from Chambers Bay Golf Course. It all begins tomorrow, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time on Fox Sports 1. Continues in prime time at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock here in the West. Your local Fox station. It's all streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Derek Norris fly deep to left and grounded to short.
That's pretty cool right there.
Clutch Norris, huh?
Wanted for hits and runs. Very clever.
He's been clutch with the Padres. Fouls that one back out of play. Solarte single, Kemp single, and the home run by Amarista. The only 3 safeties off Jesse Chavez.
I love that old school term. A safety to center, a safety to right. It's going old school, Professor.
Yeah, I threw that in there. Yeah, some of our senior citizens like that. It's a ground ball to second. They have to hurry, and they just do get Norris hustling hard, but Sogard able to make the play.
Hey, follow the Padres wherever you are with MLB.com At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replays, reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com At Bat for your smartphone or tablet. You got to have it if you're a fan.
So 100 pitches now for Chavez as Spangenberg steps in. He's gone over 100 5 times this year. The most he's thrown, 110. Spangenberg struck out and fly to left. Slices that one into the left field corner down the bullpen area of the A's.
And a Padre fan got it. You bet.
Good play made.
Take another look. On the bounce, two-handed grab. Jim Gaffigan got it. Nice.
I think I got a foul. He used his elbow, pushed off. Get vote out. Get vote out there to call that one. 0-1. And 2 strikes on Spangenberg. Again, Chavez staying ahead of the hitters all night, walking only 1, striking out 10.
Dick, you mentioned it earlier. Raleigh Fingers, Oakland Athletic, also a San Diego Padre.
Strike 3, number 11 for Jesse Chavez. What a night for him. A's 5, Padres 1. Baseball brought to you by Sequan Casino, only 25 miles from Petco Park. By Jack in the Box, try the new Double Jack, only at Jack in the Box. And by 5-Hour Energy Shots. Have you tried great tasting 5-Hour Energy lately? Across the Bay Bridge from San Francisco to Oakland, California. And the action continues, and Despaigne back on the hill here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Canna, Sogard at the bottom of the order, then leadoff man Billy Burns for the A's. Canna is grounded out twice. Lines that one up the middle for a solid base hit. The 8th base knock for the A's tonight. The big blow, the 3-run homer, Billy Butler, back in the 1st inning.
You know, we mentioned the velocity of the fastball tonight for Odrisamer Despaigne, about 89, 90. And when you don't locate that fastball, you leave it up, that's what's going to happen. Canna taking it right up the center as they got the double barrel working again, Garces and Vincent.
And here comes manager Pat Murphy to make the pitching change. Hasn't taken the ball from Despaigne yet. And there it is. Despaigne leaves. 5-1 Oakland. Change of pitchers. Frank Garces coming in for the Padres.
Off the field, I mean, I'm about as happy as can be, and I try to have a lot of energy out the field. But once I step in between the lines, I'm a whole different personality. I mean, you know, I'm a competitor deep down inside, and when the lights turn on, I mean, it's game time.
Well, that's James Shields, and tonight after Padres Live, Fox Sports San Diego shines the spotlight on Shields as the crew gives you his inside story. And then catch an encore presentation of San Diego SD Live honoring Tony Gwynn. That's after the final pitch tonight and Padres Live, the postgame show. There are the numbers on Despaigne tonight. 6+, 5 runs all earned, 8 hits, 1 walk, 1 hit batsman, a couple of strikeouts.
Oh, I'm really looking forward to that after the game, watching the spotlight and James Shields. That's going to be good TV.
Norris scrambles after that ball in the dirt and can't get Canna, who advances on the play. Good hustle by Norris. It's thrown a little on the shortstop side, and Canna moves up on the wild pitch.
Yeah, just like a pitcher, when you rush it a little bit, kind of yank it. Nice stop, as always, by Derek Norris. And as you mentioned, Dick, and you know, that was a short hop to second base. Nice job by Alexi. Backhand, and as I mentioned, glue that glove on the runner. Leave it on the runner.
That was close, even with the tag down on the hip.
Yeah.
So the wild pitch, he advances to second. Sogard takes a strike, 1-2. Sogard is grounded out twice.
Well, this pitching change brought to you by El Cajon Ford. Enter Frank Garces, the left-hander. Last time out was Sunday against the Dodgers. 19 of his 23 outings this season have been scoreless, with the lefty Sogard and the switch hitter Burns on deck. Lower average from the right side for Burns. Still hitting well, though, at 283 for Burns.
One of the few players who wear the horned rim glasses while in duty. Sogard. A good pitch. 3-2.
Nerd power. Love it. What are you doing? They got a lot of good signs out here in Oakland. They got their little patches in the outfield where they have their fan base.
And Garces walks Sogard. So 2 on, no one out. Top of the order. Billy Burns, a double to lead off the first inning, and that set the fuse. And 4 runs later, the first inning was over against Despaigne. Most hits this season by a rookie, and Burns right there in third behind Chris Bryant of the Cubs, University of San Diego's own Jock Peterson, and then Burns. Yasmani Tomas, we're going to see him over in Arizona. He wasn't able to pull the ball when we saw him earlier in the year, and he's gotten his act together. The big Cuban outfielder. So Burns finally getting a chance to play as a major leaguer at age 26 and hitting over 300 in the midst of an 8-game hitting streak. 1-1. Fouled at the plate.
A good change up there by Frank. After going in, going soft away. Got some work to do here with nobody out. Runners at first and second for Frank Garces. Force at any base, get a grounder, get a double play. Tough to double up though, but Burns being on the right side might help his cause.
Oh, he just lays the bat on the ball and drops one into right field for a base hit. All the runners will move up 90 as Kemp gets his throw in. Boy, Burns doing everything right. That's a little wedge shot to right for his second hit.
Ball out of the zone. Just making contact. Ugly swing. Base hit.
Bases loaded as Canna moves to third. Sogard to second, and Burns joins him.
We've seen that a couple times tonight. Now Pat Murphy, the manager for the Padres, will bring the infield in.
Marcus Semien singled and scored in the first. Has flied out to right the last 2 times. The last time took Kemp right to the wall. That's a strike. Infield in with a 5-1 deficit facing the Padres. They've got to try to cut off a possible run at the plate. Out of force now. Nick Vincent back up throwing again. He's ready if needed. That ball hit deep to left field. Back goes Upton and makes the catch, but tagging and scoring easily is Canna. It's 6-1. Moving over to third on the tag as well is Eric Sogard. Semien's 17th RBI of the year.
Oh, a pitch that was inside, and a nice job by Semien elevating that ball. I could see what Frank Garces was trying to do there, trying to go down and in to try to have to hit the ball to the left side of the infield with the infield end to get that force play, but he did a nice job of elevating that ball to the outfield to end deep.
So first and third, 1 out. You can close the book on Despaigne. That run belongs to him. So 6 runs allowed by Despaigne in his 6 innings. Runners aboard are on Garces' card. Reddick is 0 for 3, a pop up and a couple of ground outs. Fernando Abad, first up in the Oakland bullpen. 6-1, the A's lead it. 1-1.
You know what's frustrating about this inning is that when Frank Garces came in with the intent to get Eric Sogard out, he ended up walking him. Lefty on lefty, that is what Frank Garces needs to do. He needs to get those left-handers out. It's not going to happen every time, but at least have them earn their way out rather than trying to give them a free pass.
Yeah, that's the no-no. You're a left-hander in the bullpen for a good reason. To work to left-handed hitters, sometimes only to one man. Well, think about Joe Thatcher and how his role. Garces has the same opportunity here as a Padres southpaw. Well, you got to get the left-handed hitters out, or you certainly don't want to give them the free pass. 1-1.
Hey, if you make a good pitch on a lefty, and you're a left-handed pitcher, you make that good pitch, you tip your hat. The guy has an ugly swing, but if you walk him, no chance of.
No defense for the walk, is there? Mulling over an off performance tonight. Despaigne, the first inning got to him, 4 runs in the first. High pop up on the infield, and that's an easy play for Middlebrooks. Second out. Now they can't score another run on and out. The 2 away, it's Zobrist. RBI single and a triple, and he scored a couple of runs tonight, Zobrist. Well, you talk about when things get tough, it just perpetuates itself. Milwaukee has the worst record in baseball. They're 20 games out of first place. And then what happens? Their announcer gets hit by a baseball.
That's right.
How about that? Bob Uecker had to go to the hospital with a mild concussion yesterday. Got hit by a ball.
We wish Bob well. Talk about bad luck.
Thank goodness he's okay, but otherwise there'd be a lot of jokes in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Mostly thrown by Uecker himself.
Exactly.
I love his story in spring training when he and Don Drysdale became close friends through the years. And he said the first time I faced Drysdale in the spring training game, I was just a backup of a backup catcher. And just trying to get somebody to notice me and come up first pitch, he drills one right in my ribs. And he's laughing. And as I'm struggling to first base, and I yelled to him, "Why would you want to hit me with a pitch? I can't hit you." And Drysdale snickered, "Save the ball, I'll sign it for you." Oh, my.
What did Drysdale throw? Mid-90s, upper 90s? Or was
they didn't talk at the velocity. Even with Nolan Ryan, it was, someone would say, I had him over 100, but it wasn't like you saw the pitch ever.
Sure.
I bet Drysdale was in the high 90s. But it was his delivery. They had that buggy whip delivery, and he came kind of 3/4.
Yeah.
And he threw that big body at the hitter. Lot to see. Yeah. Lots of legs and arms and elbows. Yeah. And when you look up his record, folks, and then you see almost 200 hit batsmen, don't believe it. He didn't hit a single batter. At least that was his call. He said they all hit themselves.
They could get out of the way, right?
That's right. 2-2. And he couldn't pitch nearly as effectively the way the game is called today.
No, not at all.
I mean, you just can't pitch inside. It's Abad. Apparently, we're going to see him in the 8th inning. Continues to throw. Runners at the corners, 2 outs. And a run home here in the 7th. To make it a 6-1 game. Fly ball to right center, hit pretty well, but Kemp and Venable, and he can't get it. That'll score 1 run, and will score another. A bobble on the relay. Spangenberg can't come up with it. 2 more are home, and the A's have blown it out to an 8-1 game. Great effort by Venable. That ball kept tailing away from him.
This ball hung up in the air a long time, but still it's a long way to go for Matt Kemp and Will Venable. So let's give it a look. We've seen Will Venable make many great plays. Just at the last second, he lays out. Oh, good effort, Will.
And with 2 outs, running all the way from first base is Burns to score another run. Sogard was at third. So a 3-run 7th inning, and Venable almost there.
Oh, eating some warning track.
What a night for Ben Zobrist. An RBI single, a triple, and a 2-run double. Everything but a home run for the cycle for Zobrist. He's knocked in 3 and scored 2. See if they charge an error on the relay from Kemp into Spangenberg, because Zobrist able to take an extra base on that play.
Yeah, I think so, because he stopped as he got around second base, it looked like. Then he had to fire up the engines again to take third.
Yeah, there's an error up on the board. We'll see on whom they have placed that. That's a strike, 2-1. Stephen Vogt has struck out, sacrifice fly, and grounded out.
Well, here's Vogt running. See how he pulls up, and then he sees the ball get away, and that's the error you're talking about.
It's charged to Spangenberg. Unable to collect the throw from the outfield. 2-2. It started ugly with 4 in the first for the A's, and another crooked number here in the 7th. Into foul territory. That's a lot of territory there and off the roof of the A's dugout. The A's bullpen has been the weakness, but now with an 8-1 lead. Fans can relax. 3-2 now to Vogt. Ben Zobrist, off season for him. .227 his average coming in with only 18 runs batted in. He's knocked in 3 tonight. Single, double, triple. That ball hit hard and high, opposite way, and out of play. Well, the longest winning streak of the season for these Oakland A's, 4, and that's what's out there for them. That's the carrot tonight. They've won 3 in a row, and that's going to be another run as that one falls in front of Upton. And walking in is Zobrist. It's 9-1. Does that sound familiar?
Really? And another swing, ugly swing that results in a run and a base hit. Vogt just throwing the head of the bat out there to pitch down and away and driving in another run.
His second RBI tonight. He's now at 47 on the season. And the walk that no manager enjoys, going out to get the relief pitcher, and Nick Vincent comes in out of the bullpen. Exit Garces, 9-1.
Brought to you by Mercury Insurance. Log on to mercuryinsurance.com tonight and see how much you could save. By Petco, what we feed them matters. And by Sony, the leader of 4K Ultra HD. Magnificent bridges of the San Francisco Bay. And inside the O.Co Coliseum. 3 more runs home for the Oakland A's here in the 7th. As they built their lead to 9-1. Billy Butler, 3-run homer in the first inning on a shattered bat, ground ball up the middle. Going to be a tough play. Spangenberg can't get the slow running Butler. Chugging up that line like an old deer tractor. But beats it out for an infield hit. And now the A's have hit around here in the 7th inning.
Wow, a shattered bat off the end of the bat, and Corey Spangenberg, we've seen the range and just beats it out. Look at Billy Butler.
His 3rd hit of the night.
That's a 6.5 on the Richter scale, him going down that line.
See, now you inspired that by your challenge of saying you could beat him.
Oh, yeah.
Under a self-defense catch of that low throw. So 1st and 2nd, 9th man to bat in the inning is Brett Lowry. He is singled, walked, and struck out. 2 on, 2 out. Four runs home here in the 7th inning to make it a 9-1 game. 9-1 was the score of the first game of the 2-game series at Petco. And when Vogt hit the grand slam.
Well, 10th game for Nick. He pitched very well last time out. That was Monday against these same A's. A couple of innings. 4 strikeouts for Nick in that game.
The inning began with a single by Canna. That was the last for Despaigne. Garces came in and walked Sogard. Burns blooped a single into right. Simeon a sacrifice fly. Reddick popped up, so 2 away, but then Zobrist with a 2-run double and Vogt with a bloop single to knock in another run. And now a couple of more hits, 2 on, 2 out. And strike 3 called. Vincent gets Lowry. And finally, the 7th comes to a close. A's score 4, lead 9-1.
All right, lots to anticipate. It's all going to be a great night of baseball to follow. So stay with us as Sam Fuld goes in for Zobrist in left field defensively. And the new pitcher is Fernando Abad, 29-year-old from the Dominican Republic. Padres bring up Middlebrooks, Amarista, then the leadoff man Will Venable. Middlebrooks up twice, struck out twice, and he drills this one to deep center field. That ball is crushed to deep center and over the wall. Middlebrooks will touch them all. Number 9 for the Padre third baseman as he greets Abad. 9-2 the score.
That'll get the Padre fans up out of their seat and cheering a little bit as Abad throws a bad pitch right down the middle. And Dick, you said it, this ball is crushed.
Well over 400 feet as Burns unable to climb the wall as he did at Petco to take a home run away from Upton. Amarista homered his last time up. He laces one to left field, slicing into the corner, fouled over, can't get there.
And get the fastball. Hitters look for the fastball, especially right down the middle, and that's the perfect swing on a perfect mistake for any hitter. Even the speed of Burns can't get that one.
So 1-2 now to Amarista. Great line for the starter, Jesse Chavez. 7 innings, 1 run. The home run by Amarista, only 3 hits, walked 1, and struck out a career high 11 batters. Amarista's home run to right field, his second of the season. No doubter.
Nice job by Alexi turning on that fastball in the inner part of the plate. Got his hands through quickly, hit the sweet spot, and sent it a long way.
Abad last year, a good season out of the pen for the A's. Appeared in 69 games with an ERA of only 1.57.
That's a great year.
Originally signed back in 2002 as a non-drafted free agent by the Houston Astros. Hope you'll join us tomorrow. Day action on the Thursday as the home and home 2 games at Petco, 2 here in Oakland wraps up. Outside, Ian Kennedy will look for his 4th win of the season. Kendall Graveman will be on the mound for the A's. He's 3-3. Then on to Arizona. The temperatures are around 105 degrees today. Center field. Burns coasting off to his left for the first out. Let's look at the National University standings. The American League West with the Oakland A's 11 games out in 5th place. The Astros, we saw them and they swept a series at Petco and they continue to win. Texas 3 back. The Angels 5 and Seattle 9 out of first.
Well, when you look at the Houston Astros in that division, I think of, bench and bullpens. As we have a little Padre cutie in attendance. Homemade sign, love it. Their bullpen has just been outstanding. 2nd in the American League for the Houston Astros. So if they keep pitching that way and scoring a little bit of runs, they don't have to score a ton of runs, but they can continue to do that out of the bullpen. You never know.
Venable struck out all 3 at bats tonight, and he strikes out again. That's a tough night at the ball yard. 4 times punched out. 2 away to Solarte. Will turn around and bat right-handed for the first time. 1 for 3. He singled in the first, and he struck out the last 2 times. 12 Padres have struck out this evening. That ball hit well to left field. That chases Fold back to the wall, and then the track makes the catch. Padres settle for the leadoff home run by Middlebrooks. It's 9-2 Oakland.
Most emotional roller coaster game I've ever been through. You know, I think we had 3 or 4 different lead changes that game. You know, I think I pitched five innings or whatever, and I felt like I was watching a whole baseball game after I was done pitching. So, yeah, I mean, it was probably one of the most exciting games I've been a part of.
George Brett celebrating that wild card win for the Kansas City Royals that over Oakland and took them all the way to the World Series. And stay tuned for Spotlight on James Shields after Padres Live, the post-game show after the final out today. And we'll see James on the mound on Friday night to open the Arizona Diamondbacks series against Ruby De La Rosa of the D-backs.
That's going to be a good show, learning a little bit more about James Shields. And I tend to forget once in a while, but that kid, James Shields, he pitched in the 7th game of the World Series. That's every kid's dream, isn't it?
Absolutely.
He's a Padre, and it's going to be a great show. So enter Corey Mazzoni, 8th game for the young right-hander. Got hit hard last time out, missing over the plate. He's got a good live arm, but got to hit his spots.
Mark Canha, then Sogard and Burns on the bottom of the 8th inning. 9-2 Oakland. This is a chance for Mazzoni to get himself back in order after having a rough outing last time. Spanchenberg calls for this one. And one away as Canha strikes out. And let's go back to our keys to the game, brought to you by Honda dealers of San Diego.
Well, I'm going to have to go to summer school, I think. First key was keep Burns off the bases, and Billy Burns 2 for 3, a single, a double, yada, yada, yada. Support for Despaigne. Well, the Padres have only supported the right-hander with 1 run scored during his 6 innings of work. So,
boy, they just have neglected Despaigne, the offense. 10 starts tonight, and 6 of the 10 he's got no runs, and tonight 1. I'm not even going. You know, sometimes in education you just realize that the test was too hard. So you take the blame as the professor.
Oh, really?
I'm grading myself. You know, I didn't prepare you well enough.
No.
And so I can't give you a bad grade. I'm going to give you a chance. I'm going to give you a pass, a withdrawal on the game tonight.
Okay.
Come back tomorrow.
Bounce back tomorrow.
Yeah, but I want you to be here in time.
I'll be here.
One away to Sogard.
So Pat Murphy talking some strategy or some defense or just baseball in general to Clint Barmas.
Part of the process here is for Pat Murphy to get to know his players and for them to know him.
You know what, Dick? It's interesting because every time we've taken a shot at Pat Murphy on the bench, he's always been talking to somebody, whether it's a player or a coach. Dave Roberts right by his side.
That ball drilled into the right field corner, and it's a fair ball. Sogard on his way to second, and the former player at Arizona State under Pat Murphy has his first hit tonight. That's 12 now on the game for the A's.
Looked like it was a ball that he went down and got. Whatever it was up a little bit too much. Might have been an off-speed pitch as well for Sogard to pull that. And Mazzoni's got the mid-90s, upper 90s fastball. Good-looking swing by Sogard.
Billy Burns 2 for 3 and was hit by a pitch. Scored a couple of runs. How do you figure a guy like Burns languishing in the minor leagues, not regarded as a serious major league candidate until age 26? He did come up with a cup of coffee last year. Had only 6 at bats, 1 for 6, and then jumps into the fray this year because of the injury to Coco Crisp, and starts tonight hitting .308, the top batting average on the A's club, and he's 2 for 3. Up the middle. Have to hurry, Amarista, and he doesn't get him. That's one of the reasons he's got such good speed that on a ball dribbler like that, he's able to leg it out for his 3rd hit tonight, with Sogard moving over to 3rd.
Well, Billy Burns, originally drafted by the Washington Nationals and in the minor leagues, then traded to the A's. Maybe, you know, with the stock of players that they had, they're really never getting a chance. With the Nats, started 2011 with Auburn and then Hagerstown in 2012, and he's getting a shot here in Oakland. It's paying off for him.
Played his college ball in Georgia at Mercer University, a product of Marietta, Georgia. So 1st and 3rd with 1 out. Simeon, a single and a sacrifice fly, and a long out to right. He's knocked in a run, 1 for 3.
You know, that Nationals roster, they got a pretty good outfield, don't they?
Yeah, pretty tough to break in there. That Span is really a good leadoff man,
yes,
too.
He is.
That kid in right field, I don't know. It's got to improve his power a little bit. He's pretty well locked up a position in the National League outfield.
Yes.
In the All-Star game.
Bryce Harper is quite a talent.
3-0 now, Mazzoni. And a 4-pitch walk. So the bases are loaded. That pushes Burns over to second.
And there's no action in that Padre bullpen. This is Corey Mazzoni's mess to clean up.
But he's kind of dirtied it up himself. He needs to get out the broom and the vacuum here and get out of this. Back with you tomorrow, day game. Ian Kennedy, 3 and 5. We'll start things at 12:30 here on Fox Sports San Diego against Kendall Graveman. And we invite you to join us then. Bases loaded, 1 out to Josh Reddick, who's 0 for 4. He's the only Oakland player without a base hit tonight. A couple of ground outs, and twice he's popped to third baseman Middlebrooks. Two and 0. That's 6 straight out of the strike zone from Mazzoni.
Yeah, those 2 times popping up. To Middlebrooks, you mentioned, Dick, 2 times with runners at 3rd. With a runner at 3rd and fewer than 2 outs. So he's had a couple of opportunities to drive in some runs.
Slide for right field base hit. He joins the hit parade. They'll just all move up 90. It's 10-2 Oakland. Reddick with his 41st RBI. That brings Sogard home. And Murphy to the mound. No, it's Darren Balsley to the mound.
You know, I mentioned it a little bit ago. Last time out for Corey Mazzoni, he got hit hard. And it just goes to show you, we've talked about it so many times. Now, a pitcher can throw 95, 97, even 98. If you miss over the heart of the plate and it is straight, guess what? They are going to turn that around so quickly. You got to have some confidence to throw some off-speed pitches as well when you're behind in the count for strikes.
That was more inspirational than tutorial from Balsley. More or less saying, come on now. Bear down here and forget about it. The bases are loaded. Get out of this thing. Learn from the experience. Meanwhile, the A's have hit double figures in that run column. 10-2. Zobrist has had the big night. 3 RBIs, 3 for 4. He's a home run shy of the cycle. Singled in a run in the first, tripled and scored in the third, doubled in 2 in the 7th. Oh, excuse me, it's Sam Fold has replaced Zobrist. That's interesting in a lopsided game that they don't leave Zobrist in with a chance at the cycle.
Huh. Interesting.
So Fold gets a chance. Ground ball fair past third. So Fold in his at bat also gets a hit. 2 more score. It is 12-2. Boy, that's been a position, the 4th in the order that produce. That's 5 RBIs out of the number 4 hitter.
Oh, my goodness. Well, when it rains, it pours. And Sam Fold, the first at bat tonight, hitting the hard throwing Corey Mazzoni, just taking it the other way, just flicking it that way. Pitcher throws it hard, a nice easy swing, and just takes it where it's pitched for the RBI.
Four runs in the 7th, 4 runs in the first, now 3 here in the 8th. Stephen Vogt has an RBI single and a sacrifice fly. A couple of runs batted in tonight. First and second. Still only 1 out. Well, you're watching the high mark this year. No wonder those A's fans are hopping around. 12 runs, the most they've scored in any game all year. Went around.
Did you get hit?
Swung at the ball. And that's strike 3. Second out.
Well, Steph Curry, yeah, the MVP, LeBron. He's got the tears working after the Warriors brought home the crown. Let's take a look. This last pitch. Definitely goes on it. Nice pick by Norris. Runner on first. No need to tag him.
Brings up Butler. 3 hits for him, including a 3-run homer in the first inning. 12 runs, 16 hits for the Oakland A's. 2 runs, 4 hits for the Padres. The 2 runs on solo homers, Amarista and Middlebrooks. Three games against the Padres. They've scored 27 runs. Another ball up the middle. That's going to be tough. They knock it down. Spangenberg. Another hit for Butler. A 4-hit night for him. And the bases are loaded again.
You got to be shaving me on this. Unbelievable.
Good direction. He even had Spangenberg fielded it correctly. And even with the slow running Butler, it's much like his hit the last time up. So deep out onto the outfield grass that Butler would beat it out. 3 hits for Burns, 3 hits for Zobrist, and here's another hit. This one from Brett Lowry up the gap. That'll score 1. It'll score 2. And around third and holding is Butler. And they kick the extra point. It's 14-2. A couple of RBIs for Lowry to give him 29 on the year. And they batted around. 10th man to hit in the inning coming up.
Now batting, number 20.
Talk about the crooked numbers. 4 in the first, 4 in the 8th, or 4 in the 7th, 5 here in the 8th. 10th man to bat. Ground ball toward the hole. That one goes through. Another hit. Cannot. And kindly, the A's are only moving up 90 feet on a base hit. 13, 14, 15-2.
Unbelievable. 18 hoppers up the middle, 1 to the left side. Sure, their balls hit hard, no question about it. Corey Mazzoni's got to make an adjustment somehow, some way. But my goodness.
11th man to hit is Sogard, batting 9th in the order. He doubled earlier in this inning. This is a fighter pinned against the ropes, and he hardly can defend himself. He's just taking blows to the body, one after another, lefts and rights. Mazzoni. This will hike an already inflated ERA to stratospheric numbers. First and third. Cubs, they threw a football score up against Cleveland, 17-0. Tough day for Cleveland. Well, it's so tough for that city to get a champion. They were. LeBron James certainly carried him on his big shoulders as far as he could, but they ran out of backup talent.
We've got Clint Barnes. It looks like he is ready to hop up on that mound as an emergency pitcher if this gets any uglier. Well, looks like he's going back to the dugout.
Josh Issue going down, starting to warm up.
There are 2 outs.
Full count.
I don't like to see any pitcher go through this.
Another base hit. Sogard's second hit of the inning. First and third. Another run scores. 16-2. And a walk of mercy here. Pat Murphy going out.
We might see Clint Barnes. Or he's going to go and play short and somebody else is going to pitch.
Maybe it's Middlebrooks with his arm. We've talked about the fact that Middlebrooks has such a great arm, and the quarterback in high school. It looks as if it might be.
Might be Alexi. I mean, if Barmes is going, Barmes is doing one of 2 things: playing short or pitching. And if he's going to play short, it might be Barmes. Since he was talking to Willie Blair down there.
Yeah, I remember he was talking earlier to Murphy. Mazzoni, a really rough night here in Oakland. You want to forget this. Yeah, who wants the ball? We'll be back with the answer. Making his major league debut on the mound, Alexi Amarista. He's played every position except pitcher and catcher. He's facing Butler, and a high fly ball to right. That's Amarista comes in and gets the final out, and he'll be able to tell his grandkids about that day in Oakland where he took the hill. All the guys bigger than him got the final out. At least there's a high moment in a very rough night for the Padres. Of the game, the arm of the game, Jesse Chavez, while his offense has produced 16 runs and 20 hits tonight, Chavez stingy. 7 innings, only 1 run and 3 hits, struck out a career high 11 batters. Our Bill Howe plays of the game produced by Jesse Chavez as he is in line for his 3rd win of the year. Top of the 9th inning, and Arnold Leon comes in to work for the A's, and he will face Upton, Kemp, and Alonso. Swing and a miss by Upton, who has struck out, grounded out, and walked. Yeah, that had the crowd here at the Coliseum buzzing with Amarista, the smallest man in uniform, taking the rubber and getting the final out of that 7-run, 8-hit 8th inning for Oakland. So this is the biggest score obviously given up by the Padres this year.
I just hate to see that for any pitcher, getting out there and getting knocked around. And
like batting practice.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the San Diego Padres and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game be disseminated without the express written consent of the San Diego Padres.
Some changes defensively here. Muncy goes in at first base for Canna, and former Padre Andy Perino at third base as he relieves Lowry. Two balls, 2 strikes to Upton. And another strikeout. That's the 13th Padre to strike out tonight. Brings up Matt Kemp, 1 for 3. Well, sometimes you have to hit rock bottom to climb back up the ladder, and maybe the Padres a defeat like this will shake them up and head them in the right direction tomorrow with a victory behind Ian Kennedy. That ball hit well to left field, but able to make the catch is Sam Fuld. for the second out here in the top of the ninth, and it's down to Yonder Alonso. Alonso, the only Padre other than Amarista not to strike out tonight. Home Run Challenge will bring you up to date on that as well. $12,500 for Padre home runs tonight. They have only 2 runs, but they have produced to a worthy charity. Alonso has flied out and grounded twice. Two and 0. Broken bat, another one. Boy, Alonso leads the league in broken bats and comes up with a base hit. Padres' 5th hit tonight, and gives Derek Norris another chance to swing the bat. He has not struck out either tonight. He's flying deep to left and grounded out twice.
Well, I've said this many times before. Sometimes you're the windshield, sometimes you're the bug. Right?
It's a mess. Out of play. Whether the melon hits the rock or the rock hits the melon, it's not good for the melon. And the Padres with a melon tonight. $16 runs and 20 hits for the A's. A sobering night in that Padre dugout. 2 runs, 5 hits for San Diego. Two and 1. Not holding on Alonso, so he'll take second base. Middlebrooks with a home run tonight. Looking for a chance. Ground ball to short. The force at second. The game comes mercifully to an end. And here's the update. 2 Padre home runs tonight. Then